What's up, everybody? Wellness League Live. I am your host, DJ Tony, all the way from 1980s. Remember this Rubik's Cube? All right. So today, Catholicism. That's right. Okay, so hey, don't forget, I'm not giving any advice. Don't listen to me. Always check with your professionals. So, Catholic. Are you Catholic? Because I was born and raised very, very, very strict Catholic, especially from my mother's angle. Not so much from my father's, thank God, because that was a nice counterbalance, or else I would have been like I'd be the Pope already. But anyways, so this episode, Catholic. So, I was just thinking to myself, and I was talking to a friend a while back about, the Catholic Church, and we both grew up Catholic, and I was saying to myself and to him, I was like, yeah, like so let me just say this before I shit on the Catholic Church. Let me say, being born and raised Catholic was nothing's perfect. I get that, but being born and raised Catholic saved my ass. I mean, it kept me on the straight and narrows. I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs. I've never been drunk. I've never been buzzed. Most priests can't say that. So, I give all that to my parents being good parents, but also instilling in me and my siblings, I'll speak for myself, a sense of God's always watching, God's watching, God's watching, God's watching, God's watching, God's watching, so I'm always like, and unfortunately, at its extremes, it did make a complex in my mind. It gave me a lot of anxiety, but being born and raised Catholic kept me on the straight and narrows. It made me into a good person. It kept me a good person. It raised me as a good person, co-raised me, so being born and raised strict Catholic, really, there was a lot of beautiful things, a lot of great things, and I'm grateful forever. Being born and raised in the Catholic faith taught me about empathy, taught me about humility, taught me about doing right when no one's watching. So it really, and again, I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner like everybody else. I don't care who you are. Even the Pope's a sinner because we're human. But, and it's not an episode about what's a sin, what's not. But anyways, the Catholic Church growing up for me overall was a very, very good experience. I owe a lot of my success to being born and raised Catholic, because also teaching me work ethic, and again, doing the right thing and being good, and all that stuff, so yeah, and it taught me discipline, or helped teach me discipline. So the Catholic, and big shout out to all the priests that I came in contact with, were nothing but great. I only have good things to say about the Catholic priests that I worked with, that taught me, that were my pastors for years. So, I know there's unfortunately, a lot of, or a number of really, really evil, bad priests that give the good priest a bad name. But I can only say that my experience, being, eyeball deep in the Catholicism, I was very, very devout, very strict Catholic for a good 30 years of my life. And, came across many, many priests, many nuns. Only good things to say about the nuns and the priests that I worked with. So, and that were in my life, and that still are, actually. So I just want to say that. Okay. That said, there's I think, I was at church recently, actually, Catholic church. And by the way, I'm still Catholic, although some people in my family, my mother likes to bust my chops, or she's not even busting my chops. My aunts, they'll be like, "Oh, why did you go away from the Catholic faith?" Because I do go to Protestant church a lot, and I when I say my church nowadays, I refer to my church, this Protestant church that I go to in New Jersey. However, I was thinking, I was like, well, who is my mother or my aunt or anyone, a friend, anybody, to say I am not Catholic? I am Catholic. I go to Catholic church, and I go to predominantly, mostly Protestant church, but I'll do what I want, and I'll define who I am and what I'm not. But yeah, I'm a Knight of Columbus, which is a men's Catholic organization in good standing, but I'm also part of my Protestant men's Bible study and other things like that. And so I will be the arbiter of what I do and don't do, and what my label is. Nobody else, nothing can define me, only me. So, and I advise you to do the same. And that's a good thing. It doesn't have to. And I think this is where religion, unfortunately, gets a bad rap, because people make us, especially the the leaders of the religious churches or synagogues or mosques or temples, they make you pick teams, and this is not a sport, it's not like, oh, you got to play for the Yankees and the Mets. This is, hey, look, I can worship. This is America, freedom of religion. I'll go whatever. I've been into synagogues. I've been in mosques. I'll go where I want, worship what I want, So, but anyways, so I identify as a Christian. That's that. I'm not over religious anymore like I used to be, but yeah. So I was wondering, well, why? So I went to Catholic church recently, actually for the New Year, I think it was, right? So not too far from this video, and I said to myself, wow, it's the New Year, one of the highest points of the calendar year, and it was like nobody was in this church, and everybody was like, the youngest person there aside from me was like 95 years old, and it was the New Year, and it seemed like it was a funeral, and it reminded me, oh wow, that's what Catholic church services were like growing up, and they still are. It's unfortunate because it's a beautiful faith, but you wouldn't know it. I mean, aside from the gold and the marble, yeah, I get it. But like, you go to a Catholic service, I'm not saying it has to be a rock concert. This is where we're going to get into some of the things that, I don't like about the Catholic Church. And you can text me some things in the comment section which you don't like. But I guess there's a lot of great things. But I get the big problem, I think, for me was like, wow, and this is how it is every Sunday. It's like, the Catholic Church is losing active members. People say they're Catholic in name only, and it's a bazillion Catholics. But when you look at who's going to church, it's sad, and it shouldn't be that way. And so, yeah, I was this New Year's Day service, and I was like, wow, man, and it reminded me, yeah, Catholic Mass, you know how it is if you're Catholic, it's like, I've literally been to happier funerals in other places and denominations. Yeah, it's sad. You wouldn't know it was a New Year. And Christmas, too. I think I might have went to Christmas Mass this year, too. And it's like, Jesus is born. Wow. Okay. Maybe they were like, Jesus is born. But yeah. So I don't know. Listen, I'm not saying there has to be a rock band. I get it. It's serious. It's the Lord. It's however, other types of Christianity and Catholicism in certain parts of the world too are a little bit more, boom, boom, boom. Hey, like, are we supposed to be happy? Let's be happy. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing that really kind of turns people off to the Catholic Church who are Catholic. Is just like, am I in a funeral or am I celebrating Christ's birth? Like, it's just, yeah. Now I go to, like I said, my church now is a Protestant denomination. And when it's Christmas or it's Easter and the Lord has risen, you're going to know it. And we have a full on, like, Broadway level, theatrics and rock band, and you feel alive, And again, I'm not saying the Catholic Church doesn't do that, but it's just like, you might want to take a page out of some of the Baptist and Protestant, I mean, and this is, I think, another critique that, people say, well, this is Catholic Church is about tradition and fuck you, we do, nothing changes. That's what makes it so special. But you're losing numbers, and no one's saying change the rules. No one's saying that you have to change the 10 Commandments. No one's saying that you have to change canon law. But like, could you play the music in a higher octave and a little bit more upbeat tempo? You could do that. You really could. And then also, I think another problem that people have, and now I have, is like when a Catholic priest that gives the homily and speaks, it's just like he doesn't want to be there. And then Christ said to his followers, do good, don't do bad. Many times we know people who do bad things and they shouldn't. Amen. Like, what? Like connect, man. Connect with us. Like, I think the priests should delve into their own lives a little bit and say, and I'm sure they do. There's some priests out there. But generally speaking, it's not how it goes. Like, you want to connect with the flock. What the flock, man. You got to tell us a little bit about you. Like, hey, when I was a kid, I thought, and some priests do, most don't. And trust me, I know, like I said, I was 30 years as fundamentalist Catholic as neck deep. I know my stuff, and I taught CCD and the whole nine. So, but yeah, it's like when the heads of the church and the leaders of the church, or are just like, why do you think you don't see a lot of young people? Now, I know you're going to say, oh, well, World Youth Day. Wah, wah. Yeah, okay. I'm talking about every day, the front lines, the church, when you go on Sunday. Like, 95-year-old people are there. You know what I mean? Because they're like, shit, let me get right with the Lord because I'm about to die. But like 20-year-old, 30-year-old, you might see a few. But it's because, again, you got to somehow connect better. And I'm not saying it has to be music then. It could be maybe the pastor or the priest, giving him some more time to connect with people through his homily and stuff like that. I think another thing they could do, um, well, I'm going to jump around a little bit, but I think another thing they could do is, and they're doing this, wink, wink, but they're not doing this, wink, wink, is make more people have priestly duties. I stop short of saying make women priests because I know the Catholic Church ain't going to do that. They should, but they won't. Got it. Totally get it. But they're doing a lot of, which is a good thing. They're letting women and lay people do a lot more of priestly duties. So you're seeing women up on the altars now. When I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, you would never, ever see a woman near an altar. So now women are administering communion, and they're on the ushers, and they're reading verses of the Bible. So that's slowly, opening up more roles for them. That's great. So I think you're going to see the church continue to do that because they have to, because nobody wants to be a priest anymore. And so they're going to have to loosen some of the, kind of wiggle around it somehow, and still be like, we still have male priests. You see that? We're still keeping with tradition. Meanwhile, the priests barely do anything. You know what I mean? Like, so far as say the mass. And I'm not saying priests don't do stuff. They do a lot of stuff, but they're getting a lot more support from women, which they didn't do in the past, and laity, Eucharistic ministers and deacons and all that jazz. So it's a good thing. I think they keep up with that. That will help. I think, the other thing they could do is like reach out and have more things like Bible studies and more like weekly dinners, more women's groups and men's groups, that the priest or the nuns, which again, very few people are priests and nuns anymore, but as Catholics, we can't always look to the priest for everything. And Catholics do that, and that's not right. It's not fair to the priest. The priest is only one human being who's flawed. Like you have to have more people get involved. And there are, but there needs to be more of that. That's how you really win the day outside of the actual church service. That's when you win the day. The Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you win the day with Bible study, with, maybe prayer groups, that's on the constant, not like, we used to do it. We don't fucking knows. You want to do it? Do it. Like, there has to be that, and there has to be, even my church I go to now, the Protestant denomination, they're struggling with a lot of connective issues, like keeping people connected, because there's just not as many small groups as there once was, not as many Bible studies as once was, and we can point a lot of fingers, but anyways, I think that would help the Catholic Church, people get more linked into the Catholic Church, and I get it, some churches do that better than others in the Catholic denomination, but like, again, look at the numbers, look at who's going to church. I mean, New Year's Day, they shouldn't have been like a bare bone church service, like, you know what I mean? It's like sad. And anyways, what else? I think that people need to step up too. Ask not what your priest can do for you, but what you can do for your church. Like John F. Kennedy backwards. I think that if we're always again looking for what the priest can do for us, what can we do? What can we do? How can we step up? No matter you're a Jew, a Muslim, what can you do for your faith? Instead of asking him me. It's like, get the fuck up and help people. Anyways, sorry to curse. I have to go to confession. Padre Santo Spirito Nome, and I think that's the other thing too. I think that the church. What are my notes here? I can't even read my notes. Anyways, there's an old saying. What are the two letters in the middle of the word church? You are, I am, we are the church. So really, we have to be more grassroots and not look to the Pope to do everything for us and chew our food for us. I think. So yeah, I think that's we have to really look into that. And I think that the priests have to somehow. I know the priests are busy. They're not sitting doing nothing, but it seems like they're detached. Like, growing up, there were some really great priests in my life, but for the most part, they were kind of, detached. I don't know what they could do to be more connected to the flock, but that's their problem, not mine. So what else? Yeah, if you have any thoughts on the Catholic Church and what you like, what you don't like, and how you think they can better themselves, I mean, they're certainly not going to listen to us, but we don't need them to listen to us. We are, you are, I am, we are the church. We don't have to ask for permission to start a rosary group or start a Bible study in our church, or whatever, synagogue, mosque, whatever religion it is, what we have the power. I would say that's the other thing too. I think the church, I know they probably do this on purpose, but the Catholic Church really doesn't focus on the Bible. They focus on rosaries and prayers, which is nice. And I used to love Tuesday night rosaries at my grandmother's house, my nun's house, and it was great. It was very connective actually, and the church didn't sanction that. We just did it, and the whole block came together to say rosaries at my grandmother's house in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, way back when. But yeah, I think, I've said countless amount of rosaries in my life. I mean, just probably thousands. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it's unfortunate that Catholic Church doesn't really push or encourage reading the Bible. I understand you go to a Catholic church in Oklahoma and then read the Bible. Anyways, it's not really encouraged. Like most Catholics, they have a Bible, but it's just like an ornament. And that's the word of God, right? If you're Catholic or a Christian, so why aren't we reading that more as Catholics? Why don't we read the Bible more? I mean, that's the power right there. That's the direct line to God. We're busy praying to Saint Lucius, Saint Anthony, Saint John, Saint Paul, Mother Teresa. We're praying to Saint Ignatius, Saint Jennifer. It's like we got the book in front of us, the blueprint of God's thoughts right there. And I think that's refreshing about the Protestant church I go to. It's like you have the direct line to the boss. I'm not talking to the waiter. I'm not talking to middle management. I'm not talking to somebody's mother. I'm talking to you. Me and God have a direct line. That's amazing. That's a cool thing about the Protestant faith is that you're encouraged to just direct link, boom, done. Like, why talk to the manager if I know the owner? Duh. You can say, oh, if the owner's not there, I got his number. Again, why talk to the manager? Like, I want to talk to the shot callers, and the shot caller's God. So like, why not? Why pray to anything else? So that's kind of, I wish the Catholic Church, my bit of advice for them would be to encourage more Bible reading and Bible studies, and in addition to, it doesn't have to be either or. It doesn't be, oh well, if you read the Bible you can't say prayers. You can say prayers and read the Bible, and that's the one thing growing up that we didn't do. My family was so engulfed in just prayers, which is fine, but like, we never knew God. We didn't know anything. We just say the same prayers over and over. Our Father, Hail Mary, Our Father, Hail Mary, Station of the Cross. Again, that's great, but where's the rest of the sandwich? It's like, you know what I mean? You want to know God, that's right there for you, and in the retort, some Catholics would say is like, well, would you do your own electrical work or your own roofing? You would call somebody, right? You call a professional. That's what the priest's job is, to, interpret the Bible and handle the Bible for us. Okay, then just get rid of all the Bibles in the church then. Why should any Catholic have a Bible then? Stay away from that Bible. You shouldn't touch that Bible. Only experts should. No. The Bible was made for us, the humans, everyone, lay people. That's what makes it so special, because it's the word of God. And if you have a question, cool. Call your email, write a letter to your priest. But last time I checked, it's not illegal or a sin to read the Bible in the Catholic Church. So then it should be pushed more. It should be mandatory. It should be encouraged more every single day. And that will make, I think, the Catholic Church stronger and more people want to come to church. But anyways, so tell me what you think if you're, and then, I guess the other thing with the Catholic Church too is, if I have one more parting word, is everything's a sin. The old Catholic guilt trip that, jokes have an ounce of truth, right? Anybody brought up Roman Catholic, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, it goes beyond 10 commandments. It's like, that's a sin, that's a sin, that's a sin, confession, that's a sin. Like, it's like very repressive. It's just like, no, dude, no, like, easy with the sin. Yeah, I get it. Don't kill somebody. Okay, don't rob a bank. Don't mug and beat somebody up. Other than that, you ate meat on a Friday, but you can't. But you ate the meat on the Good Friday. That's the one you can't. What? Who? Where was this coming from? That's it said it on our canon law. What? Like, dude, this. I can go on and on. It's like so many sins. It's just like, stop. Again, keep it chill, keep it streamlined. Like, that's the other, I guess, thing too that can make it complex. And it certainly did for me. Is like everything's a sin, like you're throwing out food, it's a sin. You whatever, premarital sex, you sin. You make out with a girl, sin. Everything's just a sin. Oh, look at that, they're at the beach, they're half naked, that's sin. It's like, Jesus Christ, you say Jesus Christ, in vain, that's a sin. Like you can't. It's stop already. Like pick your battles. Like please. Anyways, but that all said, a lot of great things about the Catholic faith. And actually, there's a lot of beautiful things about a lot of people's faith. And by the way, if you're a Christian or a Catholic, I would encourage you to not only read the Old Testament, because you're half Jewish, Jesus was a Jew, and the Old Testament is Jewish. And you might not want to hear that, my fellow Catholics, but read the Torah, read the Torah, read about the Jewish faith, because Catholicism was born out of the Jewish faith. We are Jewish. We came from where? We didn't come from the Hindu faith. We came from the Judeo-Christian, but the Jewish faith. So Christians and Catholics are grandfathers, so to speak. Where it all started is the Jewish faith. So if you want to be a better Catholic, a better Christian, read the Torah. And so we're more alike than you think. And to my Muslim brothers and sisters, Christians and Catholics, you might not want to hear this, but the Muslims, they respect Jesus Christ, and they see him as a prophet, and they have the utmost respect for him. And so that's also linked. If you're a Muslim, you are also linked to, the Old Testament, Christianity, and then there's Islam. But, and I'm being a very, generalization about it, but we have more in common than we have apart, and it's a shame that people weaponize religion. Anyways, but, and I think that's another way I think Catholicism can be a leader, is have more open dialogue and more community events with other faiths. And I know sometimes they do in different places. I know there's a radio station here in New York. They have religion on the line, and it's a rebbe and a priest. That's great. They should somehow try to find an imam. That'd be great. And I'm sure they tried once. We'll try 10 times then. But I mean, that'd be great to have an imam in there, because we have more in common than we do apart. And all the faiths have so many things that are beautiful about them. And again, if you want to weaponize them and make them negative, you can do that too. Anyway, so blah, blah, blah. Tell me what you think, folks. Okay. And hey, go to your services. Okay. Thank you, God. I'm out here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.